Morning everybody, PJ here. Just going to show off my homemade wood burner stove. I made this from scratch. I don't have a penny in this thing. I got the piece of stainless from work. They had just a stainless sheet that went into around the countertop or something. I can't remember what it was. But I was like, I can make something out of that. And this has went through a couple of changes. I'm going to try to make this part as short as possible because I'm going to show you how it burns here. Sorry, I ain't been up real long. But just wanted to go ahead and get this video out. That's probably why I look like I ain't woke up. But anyway, I know everybody's going to want my, but this is the basis of the stove. This is going to be the outside portion of it. It's 3 pieces. They're all cut identical. And I'll show you how it goes together here in just a minute. I've showed it in other videos, but I've made some changes to it. The base plate I've changed. I put bigger holes in the bottom, so that's new. I changed kind of the little tabs that's going to hold it in place. The top I had like this, one of these I've made and tried different ones. Even the one that comes with the lick sod, I used it, but wasn't really liking it. So I come up and I've got these, and I'll show you how all this goes together. This whole thing, 5 ounces exactly. I can put it on the scale, but you'll just have to trust me. 5.0 ounces. That's how much this thing weighs. That's pretty good for a little stainless steel stove. It's not the fastest stove, by no means. It's definitely not as fast as this one because it doesn't hold near the same amount of wood. You know? But anyway, I'll show you how I put it together. Well, actually, let me measure this for you, because I know everybody's going to ask that. It's so simple to make to it. You got a piece of, you got to have. It's not a thick piece of steel. I wish I had. It's down there in my garage, but it's a really thin piece of stainless. I don't know if you can find it in a store. You should be able to, but I couldn't tell you the thickness, the gauge, or nothing on it. Basically, what restaurants use, they had a piece that separated a panel from 2 countertops, and that's what it was used for. They got rid of it. I ended up with it. I started off though, they ended up, it's 5 inches. I finished, once it's done, it's 5 inches. I started off with 5 1/4. It's 3 inches tall. So finished 5 inches, 3 inches. The holes you can make however you want. These slits right here, that's just dead center of the 3 inches. And I got another one up so far. There's that 1/2 inch up, and then this one's down just a little bit lower. But from the bottom, that slit right there, it's what, like 3/4 of an inch. Then I drilled this hole, and I'll show you all those. Like I say, that part you can make. You don't have to do this hole if you don't want. I did that to feed wood, and I'll show it all that. Then I come in 3/16 from this side, took my angle grinder and I made a slit, left like 3/8 of an inch on each side there for metal. And this side, where it was 5 1/4 to start off with, I cut so far in from the edge, 3/8 of an inch. Let me check that again. No, that's not 3/8, sorry. 5/8. 1/2 inch, yeah. 1/2 inch, sorry. 1/2 inch from the sides, and left would have been a little tab sticking up, and then I bent it. And I'll show you. So when you got it, pull it out of its little pouch. This one will slide down here, and it'll catch in. Let me slide that back. But take it out, a little hook. Gonna slide in here and catch that. See that? This one's going to slide up and catch in that. And you're going to hook these together. Just go around it and make sure that they're together. Now, after it heats up, it'll take form. So every once in a while, you got to kind of like, you know, straighten them back out a little bit so it'll stay together like this. Once you get it to that point, you take your little base plate. I'm going to take one of these little piece things right here, and I'm going to put it in this slot here on all three sides. So I'll start on one side. I might have to put this on my leg. I don't know if you can see it. Because what I got to do is kind of lift up to let that go in. Turn it to where, see what I got now? I got two sides in, and I'm going to push that one up till it locks into that slot. All three of those are locked into there. It ain't coming apart. Now, these three pieces, you can adjust the height for these if you want, but they're actually just going to rest down inside here and stop on the base plate. They're 3.5 inches tall, and then I left an inch right here. So I started off longer and cut it down till I liked it. So this one ended up being right at 3.5 inches tall. It's actually about 3 3/8 to the top down, and this is just an inch. So you got that. Anyway, I'll spend too much time on that. You can play with that however you want. Then I'm bent in this little middle slot here. You can see how I went in and I made these little, I wish I could get that real good. You see that? So it's like an indention, and I had to do that in the vise and hammer, and I made a tool to do it with and all that stuff. But anyway, that'll slide from the inside down through that, and it'll go just like that, and then that holds that there. See, this video is going to get way long me trying to do it. If I showed everything. So I'm going to quit this one here about at the 8-minute mark, and then just put in the rest of these, so it's not super long. But anyway, right there, holds the cup fine. Holds the big ones fine. If you got something bigger, you can spin these out and have it out here. But I just, for what the 1.1 liter and all that, I just keep it right there. I have to show how I do the alcohol, because I can use it. And I made these little notches. These come out and sit right there on all three sides. That way my alcohol stove will work down in here too. That would probably have to be a separate video altogether, just because I mean, there's no way to get all this in one video. That's it. I said I was going to cut it off at the 8-minute mark, this to show it off. You know, you see the size difference in between this one. It holds about a third the wood that this one will. And you'll see in the video when I go to burn it, it takes longer to boil water than that one does, but a third of the weight too. This one's 16 ounces, this one's 5. So, you know. Alright, that's it. I'll plug in some more video and let you watch it actually in use. But on to the next part. See, so I've got this. I've got some poplar bark off of an old limb, and this is actually kind of damp. It's been sitting here from all my other tests, so it's just been laying right here on the ground. So we're gonna see if we can light that up. Now, I ain't gonna use a fire steel or nothing. I'd say if I rendered it down pretty good, I could, but I'm just gonna kind of break it up. And then I'm just going to hit it with a lighter, because like I say, this ain't really a bushcrafty kind of thing right now. I just want to kind of see how this stove works. So I got me some water. I'm going to boil it. I've been getting kind of slow, but see what I'm doing. And You can tell it's damp, but if you pull that stuff apart, you can get that, and I'll show you here too with this one a little bit. But you just sit there and just keep breaking it up. And once I get it, I fold it, and I can feel the dampness in it. I know it's wet. It might not even burn. But see, I'm gonna sit there and get it like that right there. So we'll see. Maybe I'll at least get some smoke out of it, get rid of some of these bugs. So I'm gonna use a little bit of that, get it started. Then I've got a handful of twigs, because this is a twig stove. You can't put much real big stuff, but I do have some other stuff that I've cut down and just made. You know, this is good dry wood here. I got this out of my wood pile, so I know it's good and dry. Because I actually want to see how good it holds the coals. Just like that. Take that bark. And see, you're taking one big piece and making a bunch of little pieces. And it's got all them little strands in it. Like I say, we'll find out whether or not wet bark will burn. It might take it a minute. But I tell you what, try not to make this too long. I'm going to pause off right here. I'm going to break this up, get my stove kind of packed, and then I'll come back. Because it's going to take me just a couple minutes. And it don't take long on these tests. I've noticed when I'm doing it for the video to get really, really long. But see what I'm doing here? Now I'm going to take that and I'm going to fold it just like that. I said I was going to pause the video, but and I'm going to sit there and rough it up. And it's getting all over my camera phone there. But let's see what I got. Maybe. I'm hoping with these bigger holes I put in my base plate, I might be able to light it from the bottom, pick it up, and light it from the bottom. So. And like I say, maybe this smoke will get rid of some of these bugs. I can definitely tell the bigger holes making a difference on that. I'm gonna sit it down here. Yeah, it's getting me to start going. That's one thing with these smaller stoves like this. It's really easy to get them over packed. So it usually takes them a minute to get actually burning. But once they do, it'll go through. It's probably hot, but it'll go through material really fast. So. But I guess even wet poplar bark will get started with a lighter pretty easy once you get it all bunched up, make you a nice kind of bird's nest type thing out of it. And this wind might not be on my side. I might eventually have to, but I've got a windshield that goes with my alcohol stove. I need to bring it out here. And See, right now I'm overpacking it. I can tell. It's burning. It's still on fire. I can see it, but the fire's coming out the hole. I want it coming up through here. So I'm gonna quit. Quit right there. So while it's catching up, I'm putting the water in my pot. And it's right at 2 cups. This is a little bit over actually because I'm using one of these little bottles. It's supposed to be 16.9 ounces, so it's just a little over 2 cups. But basically what I'm wanting to see is if the bigger holes in the bottom let the ash fall, because it was getting stopped up, like clogged up, and it was burning like this before, but once that ash got in the bottom it would kind of go down. So I'm hoping the ash falls out a little better, it keeps getting air better, and we'll see. I think that's good enough. I can put that on there. And it's sturdy. I mean, that tri base there, you always got to watch how you set your pot on any one of those, even my whisper lights like that. Depending on how, you got to watch what how you're doing it. Another thing is I've raised that up a little bit, so I'm wanting to see if I'm getting it up off into the hot zone of the fire, because down in the cold part with this, it's not like real cold. Which is actually what I want to do with this. That's why I brought these little things that real dried out wood to show, like this size right here. I want to be able to do this if I want to slow cook. We're going to put some of those in there. And I've already probably let it go out. That's how fast that stuff burns up. You've got to have a lot of little stuff to keep it going. But once I've got that base there, which is still burning, so I can like either just feed this in from the side, or let's see, I've got a stick it, or just drop it right down on top of it. I'm breaking it up as I go. But if I was out in the woods, I'd have all this like really broke up, ready to go. I could just sit there and throw it on it. And I might have to edit some of this video out to make it like a decent length, because these videos I've been trying to do these tests, and the videos have just gotten too long. It's hard to do a test on a wood burner this size. It's real real slow, which is why I'm trying to make it faster, more efficient. There's got to be a way, and I have nothing in it other than my time. In fact, I haven't put one penny in this stove. I'm trying to feed this in there without snuffing it out, but it looks like I'm making some smoke. It might catch up. That's one thing about these stoves. You can get too much in there real quick, but then if you don't have enough, it'll burn up real fast too. So constantly got to feed it twigs. And I have like the Lixada folding, and it's bigger. It holds like a lot more wood, so you don't have to stoke it as often as you do this one. You can pretty much pack it once and it'll do its thing. Burning good though. It's burning a lot better with them holes in the bottom. Before, I couldn't pack it like that without it smothering out. Yeah. We'll see how that holds up with the ash. So, I probably need to look at the time on here just to see. You can kind of see if I had like an actual windbreak, that would change things a lot. Because I'm just right out in the open right now. Tell you what though, I am pretty pleased with the way that's burning compared to my first test with my other base plate that was in it. That wind's blowing that that fire. It's actually burning really good compared to what it was. The fire's getting on my legs. It'll singe all my hair. And see, and I put these holes down here too, so if I wanted to, I can actually feed up through here. That was the idea. Of course, it adds a lot of air, but to be honest, I found out it's just as easy to stack it from the top. Even with this 1.1 liter on there, it doesn't cover it too much. If I was like slow cooking, like with a big frying pan or something, then I might want to put some in like that right there. But every once in a while, I just gotta knock that back down in there. I can already hear it getting ready to start boiling. That is what am I at, 9 minutes? Almost 10. That's about what it's been. It's not a fast stove by no means, but oh yeah, better than 20. When I first started this, it's taking me like 20 minutes to boil. That's good now. Got all of that in there. It's kept the flame. It hasn't smoked any, except for when I first got it lit. Like I say, I'm feeding this thing as I go. And while it's got that good flame, I want to keep wood in there. So that way, especially this damp stuff, that way it's drying it out and it'll catch before it goes out. I don't want to wait till too late, you know. That's why I put these pieces of hardwood in there. I was hoping that they'll burn slower than the twigs, and they'll end up making me some good coals. The little small stuff just turns straight to ash. Once it burns up, I mean, it's gone. It's just, you might get a few pieces that'll leave you some little coals to get it started up again, but for the most part, it just burns up to nothing. See, I could let it burn a little, but I'm afraid that the fire will go out. It's a lot easier to keep it burning as you go. But it's a constant feeding stove, but I guess it gives you something to kind of do if you're in the wood. See, even now I've got to wait till that catches back up. Not the fastest stove. I could get better time, I guarantee it, if I had a wind chill. But I'm trying to see, just in normal conditions. I mean, it's not overly. I mean, it's breezy out here, but it's not. The wind's not blowing real hard. I mean, you can see how the flame is. So we're boiling. So what is that? Almost 13 minutes. Yeah, not the fastest. But that's 2 cups. If I was actually cooking, I mean, I could probably do enough for noodles or something, and enough for my coffee and stuff like that. I mean, even though it's got a huge flame, I don't know how well you can see the flame. It still takes that long to boil. It's just not a fast stove. I've kept the fire going, and it's no smoke. It's not smothered down. The holes on the bottom made a huge difference on the way it's burning. You just have to see the other ones, and I mean, this would be a long video if I put all that in there. But it's working a lot better. It's just slow. So don't be in a hurry. You know, if you're in a hurry, then you need to put your. That's one thing about it. I can use alcohol in it too if I want. Put my little burner down in there. That's it. I've been boiling pretty good, so I'm gonna write that off, and I'm gonna let this catching the grass on fire. You gotta watch out. Yep. Not to make it too long. It's boiling. Kept boiling. Try to get you a view. Of what it looks like. There. See, it's got some nice coals down there. Before, this was like full of ash, so the ash is actually falling out of the bottom just a little, which is what I wanted, because that'll actually get me more air going up through there. So. But all right, I think I could modify this thing 100,000 times after this, and it wouldn't get no better. I think that's as good as she's gonna get. Y'all have a good one.